All right, so get ready, because today we are going deep on London.
London.
One of the most iconic cities in the world,
Uh,
but we're not just doing the typical tourist spots.
right.
We are going to try to really dig deep into the layers of history and culture, and maybe even some of the hidden gems that you won't find in your average travel guide.
I love it.
We've got some great source material about London,
Yeah.
and our mission today is to make you feel like you've not just visited London, but almost lived there for a bit.
I think that's very possible.
Yeah.
What's so captivating about London is that it's a city that's been constantly evolving for centuries.
Mm-hmm.
Yet it manages to hold on to its history in a way that few other cities can.
You know, when I think about cities with that kind of historical depth, I usually think about places like Rome
Yeah.
or Athens.
Sure.
But London often gets pigeonholed as this modern, bustling hub.
Right.
It's easy to forget just how far back its story goes.
Exactly.
I mean, how far back are we talking?
Well, that's where we begin, with the Romans. They established Londinium back in 43 AD.
Wow.
And even then, it was this crucial trading post hinting at the global powerhouse it would become.
So walk us through some of the major turning points.
Okay.
I mean, we're talking about almost 2,000 years of history here.
Yeah, well, the Norman Conquest in 1066 is definitely a big one.
Okay.
William the Conqueror's impact on London was huge, not just politically, but architecturally, socially.
Right.
It really set the stage for a new era.
Oh.
Then fast forward a few centuries, and you have the double whammy of the plague in 1665, followed by the Great Fire just a year later.
Oh, my gosh. That's almost hard to fathom, those two events happening back to back.
Yeah.
Talk about resilience. I mean, London had to literally rise from the ashes.
And it did.
Wow.
The plague, while devastating, actually spurred some much-needed advancements in sanitation and public health.
Okay.
And the Great Fire, though it destroyed much of the city, also presented an opportunity to rebuild in a more planned, modern way. Yeah, it's like London used these challenges to redefine itself, which I think speaks volumes about its character.
It's almost like facing those fires forged a certain spirit.
Right.
Okay, shifting gears a bit. We can't talk about London without mentioning the royal family, right?
Of course not.
It's such a big part of the city's identity.
Absolutely, and you see that royal influence everywhere, starting with Buckingham Palace.
Yeah.
And it's not just a tourist attraction, it's a living, breathing symbol of the monarchy,
Mm-hmm.
full of tradition and ceremony.
But it's the Tower of London that has always captured my imagination.
Oh, yeah.
It's seen so much history.
So much.
I mean, it's been a palace, a prison, a treasury. You can practically feel the weight of all those stories within its walls.
It's almost like stepping back in time.
Yeah.
You know, speaking of those stories, one of the most famous prisoners held in the tower was Anne Boleyn,
Oh, wow.
the second wife of King Henry VIII.
Right.
It really brings that history to life, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's one thing to read about it, but to imagine someone like Anne Boleyn actually being there, it gives you chills.
I don't know.
Okay, let's lighten the mood a bit and talk about something a little more fun.
Okay.
Culture.
Yeah.
I've always felt like London is a city that truly breathes art and theater.
It's hard to argue with that.
Yeah.
You have places like the British Museum, which isn't just a collection of artifacts. It's a journey through human history all under one roof.
Right.
You can trace the rise and fall of civilizations through the objects they left behind.
See, that's what I love. It's not just what they have, it's the stories those objects tell.
Right.
And then you've got the Tate Modern,
Yes.
which is all about pushing boundaries, showcasing the most cutting-edge, modern and contemporary art.
Exactly. It challenges you to think differently about art and its role in the world.
And of course, we can't forget the National Gallery.
Right.
It's a classic for a reason, housing masterpieces that span centuries.
Absolutely.
I mean, you could spend hours getting lost in the brushstrokes of Van Gogh or the light and shadow of a Rembrandt.
It's amazing.
I'm a sucker for the Impressionists,
Yeah.
so I'd probably camp out in the Monet room for a while.
Nice.
And speaking of artistic experiences, what about the theater scene?
Oh, the theater.
It's got to be electric.
The West End is legendary, whether you're a diehard theater fan or just looking for a night of entertainment.
Right.
There's something for everyone.
Yeah.
From grand musicals to thought-provoking plays.
And if you had to suggest one for a first-timer, what would it be?
You know, if you're looking for an immersive experience, I'd suggest checking out the Phantom of the Opera.
Okay.
It's been running for decades and continues to captivate audiences.
That's going on the list for sure.
Good.
Okay, so we've touched on the historical weight and the cultural vibrancy of London.
Right.
But let's be honest, When most people think of London,
Hmm.
certain iconic landmarks pop into their heads instantly.
The ones you've seen in countless movies and TV shows. The Houses of Parliament, Big Ben standing tall,
Mm-hmm.
the London Eye offering those panoramic
Yeah.
views. It's
Yeah.
a visual
Tower
reminder that the
Bridge.
city
And
is
of course, the
constantly
Shard
evolving
piercing the
while
sky.
staying
Yes,
such a
connected
testament
to
to
its
modern
past.
It's
architecture, isn't it?
embracing both its heritage
It's
and
interesting
its
how
future at
London
the same time.
I
seamlessly
love that.
blends
Now, I
those
know we've got the
historical
big name landmarks
with
covered,
modern
but
symbols
I'm
like the
curious about
Shard.
some of the lesser-known spots.
Okay.
The hidden gems that you wouldn't necessarily find on a typical tour.
Well, for those who want a little peace and quiet amidst the urban buzz, I highly recommend the Kyoto Garden in Holland Park.
Okay.
It's this beautifully tranquil Japanese garden, a world away from the hustle and bustle,
What?
even though it's right in the heart of the city.
I love that idea, a hidden oasis of serenity.
Yeah,
And speaking of finding peace in the city, London is surprisingly green, isn't it?
it is.
I mean, for a major metropolis, it's got an impressive amount of parkland.
Absolutely. Londoners really embrace their parks and gardens.
Yeah.
Got the sprawling Hyde Park with its Serpentine Lake,
Mhm.
Regent's Park with its gorgeous rose gardens and open-air theater.
Right.
And then there's Hampstead Heath, which feels almost wild and untamed compared to the more manicured parks.
Yeah.
You can wander for hours and almost forget you're in one of the world's biggest cities.
It's fascinating how these parks are woven into the fabric of daily life.
Yeah.
They're not just pretty places to look at.
Yeah.
They're where people go to jog, picnic, attend concerts,
Right.
even go boating.
It's true.
They're an escape, but they're also a social hub.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's like the city's collective backyard, bringing people from all walks of life together.
I like that.
And speaking of diverse crowds, we can't talk about London without mentioning its incredible multiculturalism.
You're absolutely right. London is a true melting pot.
Yeah.
And that's reflected in everything from its food to its music to its street art.
Right?
But it goes deeper than just demographics. It's about the fusion of cultures, the exchange of ideas, the way different traditions collide and create something new.
It's like a global crossroads, constantly
Yes.
buzzing with energy and creativity.
Exactly. You can feel that energy in every neighborhood,
Yeah.
especially somewhere like Notting Hill.
Okay.
The carnival they hold there each year is a riot of color and music.
Wow.
A celebration of Caribbean culture that just embodies the spirit of London's diversity.
It's on my bucket list for sure.
It should be.
Now, all this vibrant energy, all this cultural fusion, it must be fueled by a pretty powerful economic engine, right?
Yeah.
I mean, London is a global financial powerhouse.
That's right. The City of London is a major player in the world of finance and business, attracting talent and investment from all corners of the globe.
Right.
But London's economic strength goes beyond just finance. It's also a leader in tech, fashion, and media, constantly innovating and pushing boundaries.
So it's not just a financial hub, it's a creative hub, a tech hub.
Yeah.
It's like this magnet for anyone with big ideas and the drive to make them happen.
Exactly. And that energy spills over into every aspect of the city. You feel it in the air, this sense of possibility and constant movement.
I can already feel my mind buzzing just thinking about it.
I know, it's great.
Okay, let's talk about getting around all this energy because we've got to mention the London Underground, right?
Of course.
It's iconic.
The tube, it's not just a way to get from A to B.
Right.
It's a symbol of London itself. This intricate network of tunnels crisscrossing beneath the city.
Yeah.
It's almost like a metaphor for the city's complexity and interconnectedness.
And it's got some serious history, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it was the oldest underground railway system in the world dating back to 1863.
That's right.
That's mind-blowing.
It is, and it's played such a vital role in the city's development, shaping how people live and work. Did you know that during World War II, some tube stations were even used as air raid shelters?
Wow. I can only imagine the stories those tunnels could tell.
I know.
Talk about history coming to life.
It's amazing.
Right. And of course, we can't forget about the black cabs, those classic London icons.
Yes, hopping in one of those is a quintessential London experience.
Definitely. And for those who like to get around under their own scheme, there's the bike sharing scheme.
That's right.
London really does offer a way to get around for every taste and preference.
It does. And speaking of variety,
Okay.
let's shift gears and talk about education and innovation.
Okay.
Because London is a hub for both.
Absolutely. When it comes to higher education, you've got world-renowned universities like UCL, Imperial College, London, and LSE.
Yes,
All at the forefront of their respective fields.
absolutely.
What I find fascinating is how these institutions attract talent from all over the world creating a truly global academic community.
It's that exchange of ideas and perspectives that makes these universities such breeding grounds for innovation. They're not just teaching, they're actively shaping the future.
Right.
They've produced groundbreaking research in everything from medicine to engineering to the arts,
Wow.
and that ripple effect is felt throughout the city.
Yeah, it's like that academic energy fuels the city's overall drive to push boundaries and explore new frontiers.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've covered the history, the culture, the green spaces, the diversity, the economics, the transportation, and even the education scene.
Right.
But there's one more essential ingredient we can't leave out.
Okay.
The food.
Ah, yes. No exploration of London is complete without indulging in its culinary delights.
Right.
And once again, the city's diversity really shines through in its food scene.
I've always heard that London is a foodie's paradise.
Oh, yeah.
But is it really all it's cracked up to be?
It absolutely is. You can find everything from Michelin-starred restaurants pushing the boundaries of fine dining to vibrant street food markets overflowing with flavors from around the world.
Wow.
It's a culinary adventure waiting to be had.
Okay, before we get too carried away with the food, we got to address the elephant in the room.
Okay.
The weather. London has a bit of a reputation, doesn't it?
Let's just say packing an umbrella is never a bad idea.
Right.
But, London's weather isn't always gloomy skies and rain.
Oh, okay.
It actually has a fairly temperate maritime climate, meaning mild winters and cool summers.
So the stereotype of constant rain isn't entirely accurate.
Well, let's just say that Londoners know how to make the most of any weather.
Okay.
You'll see them enjoying picnics in the park on a sunny day and sipping coffee in cozy pubs when it's drizzling.
Right.
It's all part of the city's charm.
I love that adaptability.
Yeah.
Okay, one last thing before we wrap up part one. We have to talk about sports because London is a serious sporting city, right?
Absolutely, especially when it comes to football.
Yeah.
London is home to some of the most passionate fans and iconic clubs in the world. Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham Hotspur, the list goes on.
It's not just the Premier League, though.
London is a dynamic blend of the old and the new, with something for everyone. Whether you're interested in history, culture, shopping, or food, it's a city that continuously surprises and captivates. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.